Mike Antonovich, 5th District, elected in 1980. The following was recorded live from the Kenneth Hahn Hall of Administration.
We are on item number 9. This is the hearing on the Santa Clarita Valley Area Plan Update Project, and there are public speakers on this item.
Okay. I'm going to call on 4 people at a time. Jason Smisko, Tom Clark, George Paulson, and Nick Pavich. Mr. Paulson.
Yes, good morning. My name is George Paulson. I'm a California licensed real estate broker, and I am in favor of the Santa Clarita Valley Area Plan Update. I am also in support of Mr. Pavich, who you'll hear next, as for his request to include his parcels in the plan to change them to an M1 zoning. There is a desperate need for open storage and parking in the area, as well as the rezoning will benefit the area. Thank you for consideration.
Thank you. Mr. Pavich, you're next. Okay, Mr. Pavich.
Yeah, my name is Nick Pavich, and I own 5 parcels, 3 of them which I've owned for 12 years, and I just purchased another 2 that are in LA County in last July. 3 of the parcels are going to be rezoned to M1, and there's 2 parcels which I have, I don't know if you want to take a look at this information passed out, but 2 of the parcels are not scheduled to be a change of zoning. I'd like to see if we can make it uniform and change all 5 parcels to M1 in this one valley, one vision. That's basically what I'm asking, requesting. Is there any questions, or?
Are you I'm sorry,
finished.
that concludes. I don't think there are any questions. Thank you,
Okay.
Mr. Pavich.
Honorable Supervisors, my name is John Miller. I'm the Aqueduct Southern District Engineer for the City of Los Angeles, and I'm representing the city in that capacity. There's a small sliver of land that's under consideration in your rezoning. I would estimate that it's less than 5% of the total rezoning area. 2 Los Angeles aqueducts pass through that sliver. These aqueducts are owned by your City of Los Angeles Department of Water and Power. The aqueducts were designed for a light agricultural use a long time ago. One of them in particular was built 100 years ago, the first Los Angeles aqueduct of William Mulholland fame. Parcel, which as I mentioned is less than 5% of your total area, as I estimate, is to move that from a light agricultural use to a light industrial use. And the uses of a light industrial use are quite incompatible with the existing structure.
So what is your concern, that somebody's going to build something on top of the on top of the tunnel?
That's one possible concern.
You own the aqueduct. You represent DWP, correct?
DWP does own these 2 aqueducts.
And you own the land above the tunnels?
The land is owned partly by the Department of Water and Power. Sometimes these are easements.
How big is the parcel? Do you know roughly?
I'm not certain, sir.
When did you find out about this right now?
I found out about it last week, sir.
So nobody could give you the number of feet we're talking about or the specifics?
I only learned about this meeting yesterday.
We don't want to shoot the messenger. I mean, people who make big salaries, I don't know why they don't focus on big projects. Rate increases, and the public gets very frustrated.
Supervisors, about that particular parcel, is that the only place where the zoning has been proposed to be changed that would impact your tunnel? Yes,
sir. That area is proposed to be rezoned from light agricultural to light industrial, and the other rezoning has no impact really on the aqueducts.
Had a number, you'll hear momentarily, the number of public meetings. City Council has had a number of meetings. Our town councils have had a number of meetings. Our community homeowners associations have had a number of meetings. Even the local newspapers have been engaged in this process. Where have you been?
My name is Mitch Glazer.
Learned about this in the recent weeks.
It's so crazy. I mean, we've had.
It is unfortunate, and I apologize to the public and to you about this. But
so, what is it you're asking for?
We would ask that you either accept this particular small parcel from the rezoning and leave it as light agricultural, or that you defer rezoning until we can work with your staff.
And how wide is that, Mr. Pavich?
Yeah, earlier today, DWP was talking about their aqueduct, and the aqueduct's flowing through my property. They couldn't answer. They were talking about 200 acres, but my property is approximately 5 acres. And they have a right for a tunnel, and they have a right for an aqueduct. But right now, they're trying to restrict my property. I've been paying taxes for the last 12 years, and I have tenants on the property and using it. And 12 years ago, basically when I bought the property, I graded the property, and DWP, their aqueduct manager, Mr. Cheney, gave me permission to do that with their aqueduct keeper, which comes around every day checking out, Mr. Harlem. They also gave us permission to buy water from DWP to do the job. And basically, they're just trying to intimidate people to kowtow. And this is a bunch of BS. Mr. Miller, I've been dealing with him for the last 5 years, and he told me he only knew about it 5 days. And it's not fair to the public taking a property owner. I own the property. And they're basically just the easement. And basically, I have a right to use on top of the easement. You said before, a building. We're not building a building. We're just storing things on it, and that's legal right to my property. And they're trying to take it away from me. And that's civil rights violation. Basically, a restraining order. You know, they're trying to put a restraining order on what I can do and what I can't do. On one of the properties I just purchased in July, which is in the city of LA, they actually tried to put a restraining order, and they've locked me out of the property. I can't even use the property right now. We're going through litigation to get it straightened out at this present time. And you can't do this to people.
You're using the property, you have their permission, they have permission to use the property, right? They've given you permission. That is not impacting. So I don't see how that's going to have any change, but you should also be involved in those discussions as well.
Oh, yeah, I mean, it's only fair. I mean, why can't they take my rights away? They're taking my rights away.
No,
it's not fair.
I understand, but you should also be engaged in that conversation.
Okay. Do you need my phone number? They need my phone number for record?
Why don't you write your information for Mr. Antonovich? You can get it to his staff, appropriate people.
I'd really appreciate it. Thank you very much.
You ought to be part of the discussion.
They've been working with you for five years, and then
Well, they've been
down here
actually
just...
They didn't know anything about the ordinance.
It's 12 years they've been doing this, and now all of a sudden they're coming down with a hammer and saying you can't do it. I mean, that's not right. That's not fair.
No, you ought to be part of the discussion, absolutely.
With the Department of Regional Planning. The matter before you is a comprehensive update of the Santa Clarita Valley Area Plan. The project consists of a plan amendment and a zone change, as well as a final environmental impact. This project is a component of One Valley, One Vision, or OVOV, which is a joint effort with the City of Santa Clarita. To talk about the process, OVOV was initiated in 2000. The city and county conducted extensive outreach to constituents in both jurisdictions, including the town councils. There were a total of 14 community meetings over the years. The Regional Planning Commission initiated hearings in 2009, and a notice was sent to every property owner in the unincorporated Santa Clarita Valley. On September 28th of last year, the Regional Planning Commission closed the hearing and adopted a resolution recommending that your board conduct a public hearing, certify the final EIR, and approve the plan amendment and zone change. It includes land use, circulation, conservation and open space, safety. The plan reduces allowable density in many rural areas, which supports the density increases, infill, and transit-oriented development in the city areas. In conclusion, the plan before you is the culmination of a remarkable collaborative partnership with the City of Santa Clarita. Indicate your intent to approve the plan amendment and zone change, and to instruct County Council to prepare the final documents and findings and return them to your board at a later date. This will conclude staff's presentation. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Good morning, Chair Yaroslavsky and Supervisors. I'm Jason Smisko, Senior Planner with the City of Santa Clarita and the Project Manager for the city's general plan. My comments will be brief, as it's imprudent to try to capture 10 years worth of diligence in just a couple minutes. The plan before you, it represents the most comprehensive, environmentally sound, forward-thinking planning documents that have ever been completed in the Santa Clarita Valley. And for the first time in the City of Santa Clarita's history, partnered with the county, both of our agencies will be guided by planning documents that have the same land use map, circulation cross-sections, hillside protections, strategies for responding to climate change, and identified significant ecological areas. The city and the county worked through every issue in this document over the last 10 years by proposing a simple yet complex question. What's the best thing to do for the environment, the residents, and the employees? And the answers to all of those questions are in the area plan before you. And I encourage you to take staff's recommended action. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, that's the last speaker, so we'll close session.